Right, hello YouTubers. It has been a warm one today, let me tell you. Absolutely baking. And we've had the unfortunate thing, our aircon in the school hasn't worked. So every one of us dripping. So it feels so good to get on the bike. Oh, it's been a grueling day. Anyway, that's over. Now the best thing is we're free and we're riding home. And I thought I'd just have a chat about in general the NC. I went out looking. I had a go on an Africa Twin, the 1100, with the friends. Only a quick go, about 20 minutes on it, and I absolutely loved it. Now his was the geared with a quick shifter, 2022 model, and I've got to say I really did like it. And I went middle of the week, well, Monday to Yule's, because I was going to actually see the NC off and work out a deal between the NC going in and buying a new Africa Twin. And we sat down, we worked out some figures, and it didn't work for any of us really. Because this bike is on a PCP and I'm so tight, I'd never give. Now this is people's own choices what you want to do. Because generally on a PCP, I'll give as little a deposit as I can, because even though I get over a 4-year PCP, I will after 2 years, you've got the right to, you can either hand it back or you can carry on with it and you can pay it. Now I know I never keep a bike more than 2 years. I've never had any bike longer than 2 years, never, in all the years I've been riding bikes. I'm lucky to do a few months on them. So the truth is, you go into negative equity, and that's what it is with the NC. And it's one of them. It's like next year I'm definitely doing the PCOS. I'm doing the ABR festival. I'm doing the Wild Bad weekend, which I thoroughly enjoyed. So it's set in my mind, why don't I get the DCT Africa Twin? And I know it's a lot more money. It's a lot more money. The basic Africa Twin is about £13,700. So I sat down and we got figures near what I wanted to pay. I have got a budget, and that is my budget what I spend. And when I sat down and thought about it afterwards, when I was talking to Warren on Tuesday, and I couldn't believe how, I mean, I've got full no claims and advanced driving licence. I couldn't believe how expensive the Africa Twin is on insurance. I mean, this bike for me, fully comp, is £198, the Honda NC750, and I have another bike on the policy which is an old bike, which is the FZ6, and then I have my KLE, and I also have my Bergman. So I've got 4 bikes on my policy, which is £400. The insurance on the Africa Twin alone was £675. That was the cheapest I could get it. And when I sat down, I was sat to Warren, and I really feel bad because I went in and signed, I give a deposit, and the full intention was, they said it'd be ready on Thursday, you can have it on Thursday. But when I sat down and looked at, I'm going to get realistically I'm going to get 40 to the gallon on it. Not even that sometimes. It's like, when I ride this bike hard, I'm still getting 70 to the gallon on the Honda NC. and I don't dislike it. The only side that I really want a bit more of is the ability to actually go a bit more off-road. And I've got the suspension, I've got the tyres, and it's impulse. And I wonder how many of us just do it on impulse. So I sat down and I thought, no, I still love this NC, and I do. By buying the Africa Twin, I'd have added another £2,500 a year in running costs for my bike to commute. Roughly, that's what extra it would have been put on, with the extra payment, with the extra fuel, with the extra insurance. Like I say, to go to work on this 5 days a week cost me less than £16 a week. That's how good this bike is. The bike is just less than £130 a month. My insurance is negligible. It's literally, that's paid up front. So to run this bike, the running costs on this bike, I'll sit down and work it out in a spreadsheet. And then the other side, I sat down and thought about, I've put a lot on this bike. I put heated grips. These heated grips won't fit the Africa Twin. So to buy the Africa Twin, I've got to buy heated grips. That's another £399. I've got crash guards. If I want to put crash guards on the Africa Twin, £229. That's not genuine ones. So when you start adding and adding and adding, and then you think, well, what's the main objective of the bike? What am I going to use it for mostly? And this is what I use this bike for mostly. I use it to commute to and from work and have a bit of fun at weekend when I feel like it. And I think, like I said, my focus on the way I want this channel to go was to get my older bikes like my FZ6, the Kawasaki KLE and the Bergman, and do a bit of work on them and ride them and bring that to the channel. And you end up getting very quickly swallowed up into buying bigger and more expensive bikes. And there's no saying I won't buy an Africa Twin, because without doubt it's an absolute beast of a bike. It is. And I didn't have the camera on, but you can't even in the least compare this bike to an Africa Twin. You can't, honestly, compare the Tenere, the Honda 1008 to the Africa Twin. They are just so different. So that's my little chat on what's going on. So I'm going to settle down with my NC because it was still in the back of my mind. I just love riding it. I absolutely love riding this bike. The DCT on it is amazing. The riding position is amazing. The little uplinks that I've made on it, that rubs it a little bit, has made a difference to it. And undoubtedly when I put that suspension on, that'll make a difference to it. So it's interesting, in the comments, to tell us what you think. There's a few people that follow the channel that I chat to that again buy new bikes, that swap them out. Do we really need to change them? I mean, it's like the KLE, I'm really looking forward to that. Getting back onto that, getting that together and doing a bit of off-roading on that. Again, it's not a bike that's a KDX. It's not a pure off-roader, but it'll do relays a lot better than this will. So I know we're disappointed, worried a little bit, but so I'll be back at some stage for another one. And it is also one of them the Africa Twin, the 1100, the 1000cc Africa Twin, I didn't like. I didn't like the dash, just a simple dash on it put me right off. And when you start looking at the differences between them, because I'm not one for doing deep reviews into bikes. When I buy a bike, I buy it, and most of them are bought on impulse. My first NC that I bought was on impulse. I went into the shop, I had a ride of it, and it's like, wow, I've got to have that. And I'm fortunate enough to be able to do that. But the other side that went against me, because I was going to get the standard DCT Africa Twin, was they were tube tyres. And I don't want a bike with tube tyres. You know, if I'm going to go do motocross, then yeah, you need it. You're better off with it. But I don't want to be going down a road here and then I have to actually rip off the whole wheels to get myself home. And I know, like Warren was saying, you can put snot inside the wheels to actually help them block up the damage. But if you get an air that goes right through into the inner tube, no matter what you've got in there, it's going flat and you've got to take off that wheel. That's the truth of it. But getting back to really why I do love this bike, one, comfort, and the main thing about this bike is the economy of it. One is the economy, without doubt, that does come first. Two is DCT for me. Since I started riding a bike with a DCT, I just don't want to be bothered with gears. And just to let everyone know, I know a lot of people don't like the DCT. You know, it gets mixed right-ups with it. But why buy a quick shifter? Because you look at bikes now, they're getting quick shifters. Now you can get for this Honda NC, you can get for the Africa Twin on DCT, you can get a gear lever, electronic gear lever, which is a quick shifter up and down. If you want that, that's exactly what it does. I find them paddles on this much better than a gear shift. It's just great. It's instantaneous, and it's a case of where people say about the performance of it. You know, I watched Mossy on his good review on the NC, and he's saying, you know, you've got to really think about when you overtake it. No, you don't on this bike. That's a lapse. You do on the very top end. If you get to 80, when you're getting to the top end of the rev range, yes, you do. But you do on any bike. You've got to drop the gears. And that's all you do on this, you drop the pedals. I could drop it down to 2 pedals, there we go. That quicker than you could do it on a foot pedal. That's how fast it is. If I can do that, we're down. And this bike, this DCT gearbox, just does it instantaneously. If I want to switch to manual mode. I mean, I've not even set the settings on this. I've got a user mode, which I've never set on it, because 99.9% of the time I'm sat in standard mode and I'm sat on auto. I've had it in sports mode, and sports mode holds the gears and it revs more. If you want to keep it going quicker, yeah, you can do that. It does it quite well. But it's so difficult because they put the Honda NC in an adventure category, and it's not an adventure bike, and that's the truth of it. And that's with my thought for Pecos next year, you're going up the mountains. I mean, I've been on some grubby roads on this, and the tyres just don't support it. And really the shockers don't support it. The height of the bike doesn't support it. That's the truth of it. This bike is about 30 millimeters shorter, lower down than the previous NC. I mean, that's what I did find. The previous NC didn't have the low down grunt and didn't have the gearing that this has got. Didn't have the pull that this has got. But it was equally as good a bike, better off-road. It was better off-road because it had that extra bit of height on it. And you know, people were putting drop links in it to lower it. The gearbox on the older one wasn't as refined as this one. This one's a lot smoother than the older one. The older one was quite agricultural. But you get it, you know, I've owned a 1200 GS, it's agricultural, the gearbox on it. And that's the truth of it. It's just spending the time with that bike and get used to it and deciding what do you want out of a bike. And the other side that pointed me towards backing out of the deal was I've had 4 of these. This is my 4th NC750, and every one I've gone away from, I've found a negative, and then I've realised it's not really. Like most of them, I do a lot of camping, even though you don't say I do a lot of camping on the bike. And that with the filling up the tank under the back seat, you know, it's doable, but it is a pain. It is a pain. But looking on YouTube, there's some great easy fixes for keeping your tent and keeping your stuff off that back seat so you can still lift it. So that's my little chat about the Honda NC, my personal view. I've had now 6 months of this bike, and I honestly can't fault it. That's the truth of it. And what was going in my mind to jump to the Africa Twin is impulse again. You know, I had a go on it. It's got a lot more power than this has, but it's 1100cc, so it's going to have it. It's got bigger pistons. It's got a lot more gadgets on it. I mean, that's the side that I didn't like about it. I weren't over keen on all the your handlebar buttons. It's on the left hand side switch, it's massive. It's not lit up at night. This isn't. And I think that's where, even on these, Honda needs to backlight these. But on something like the Africa Twin, they need to put something the equivalent of a whiz wheel on there, because it's too complicated. But again, it's like I say, when I ride my bike, I put it in one mode and off I go. I ride it. I get what I'm comfortable with and I ride it. I'm not a swapper and changer when I get it. I'm used to old bikes. You know, and I can't wait. It's not far off now to ride on the FZ6. Basic bike, you know, no ABS on that. Pure beast of a bike. An R60 tuned engine in there. A bike, and I kid you not, with the suspension on that, you could go off-road with that. Could put a set of knobbly tyres on it, you could go off-road on it. Immense power once you get going on it, and just an absolute fun factor. A seat that, you know, on parallel with a GS seat on them FZ6s, they're just so comfortable. You can sit in that all day. But the NC can sit in this all day. People say it's hard. Yeah, seats get hard. You know, a car seat gets hard. So that's me. Daily ride home. Waffle. and thoughts about why I didn't get the Africa Twin. But it's like I say to you again and again, I'm not saying that one won't be on the cards in the future. Never know, you win the lottery tomorrow and next week there'll be one there, but this one will still be in the stable for a little bit longer. And it's like when you look at what you're actually paying, it's like this bike I think was just short £9,000, 8,700 something, and then all the bits that have gone on it, you know, just short of £1,000 worth of bits that have gone on it. What we're on here, like a beastly one, KTM, and there we go. That's what we do on bikes. So put in your comments what you think. But the NC, even the riding ability of the bike is astounding. You go in the lanes. Once you get comfortable with this bike, you can go around the lanes as fast as you like on it. It's just a lovely, lovely bike. And the first thing I do when I get home today is get in the shower. It's been a grueling day. And I want to do stuff in the garage, but I can't because it's too hot. I've got a tin roof on my garage, which I can tell you now, in the summer it gets warm. And there's no cats on it either. So the final thing I'd like to say to you is over 500 subscribers, thank you so much. I do really appreciate it, and you know people, I never thought, you know, in my wildest that I would have that many people subscribe to my channel. Even my colleague who I work with. Said the same. He said, I thought you'll have one subscriber yourself. So I really do appreciate it, and like I say, I think I need to get back on track, stop thinking about buying new bikes, enjoy this one. I mean, it's only just about getting broken in now, and I stand up here, as you say, the old motocross track. This road is horrendous, and I haven't fitted them on, but I have actually got new pegs for the bike to go onto it, the wider pegs, and I've also got a crash plate to go on the bottom, a big skid plate. So I think they're the next things that'll go on for my next video, and we'll see how that feels, because the pegs I've got, which are really good price, but they don't have the rubber inserts in them. So when you get on some bikes and it's just the metal grips on the feet, they're big like a druggle, they're quite vibrating because you haven't got the rubber to actually take that out. But we'll see. And what to say to people, if you've never ridden an NC, whether it be the manual or whether it be the auto, go and ride one, go try it. The percentage now of people who are buying the DCT has increased. I think it's over 55 to 60% of people buy the DCT model now, and that's even happening on the Africa Twin. So when I first bought my first NC DCT, the percentage was really low, and I had loads of stick off people I've ride with about it, And a lot of them now are looking at it themselves. You know, a couple of them have had to go on my bike, and they just go, it's astounding. The way most of us ride our bikes round the lanes, this has got ample gun for what you need. You know, it's not super bike speeds. You know, it's not like my video of where I'm on my nephew's MT-09. It's not that sort of gun. That, I mean, that is a beast of a bike, an absolute beast of a bike. And the fear with a bike like that is actually keeping the wheel down on it, the front wheel, because I really was only feathering that throttle on that bike. And I was surprised. I was really surprised on the MT-09 how that had a short screen on it and how much wind it deflected from you. And I think half of it, one, because of my age, and I've had, over my lifetime, I've said on a few videos, I couldn't tell you how many bikes I've had, but I've had the R6s, I've had the R1s, I've had the Thunder Races, the Thundercats, the GSXRs. I've gone fast. You know, I did get one comment on the last video that's gone out about I don't do bikers any favours. Well, I'm sorry, you know, I'm sorry, it was Colin, I think his name was. You know, I'm sorry that's what you think. And in some respects, you're probably right. But the truth of the matter is, I don't believe whatever age you are, at some stage you go too fast. Whether you're young or whether you're old, you end up, and you just get in the moment, and that's the truth of it. And you know, he is quite right. It is unsafe, but cars are unsafe. Many things are unsafe the way we go. And the side that, as you could see afterwards, is the likes of when I'd gone around the bend, and then there was a Mercedes moving out, overtaking a cyclist. Now, I'm going to tell you now, if you go onto the older bikes, and I've had the old CX500s and things like that, if you were going down them lanes, you're going to hit that car. They do not have the stopping power. They are nowhere near as good as them new bikes. That MT stopped on a pin. That was untrue, the speed that bike actually dropped down. Much better brakes than this NC. Much better. But again, a lot more expensive. You know, when that was new, a lot more expensive. A lot better suspension, twin discs, and I always say that about this NC. This NC is an amazing bike, but it does need that extra disc. Well, I thought I'd just show you. That's my new plate on the bottom, but I've got to just give my FZ6. Now, I've painted this tank myself, so it needs another little flat down and then polishing. The front mudguard's going to come off and just be flattened and lacquered, so I'm quite pleased. A good clean up then. With a bit of luck, within the next week or so, we can't wait to get her out. I really can't wait to get that out. They are an absolutely stunning bike. Absolutely gorgeous. And this is a, I think, 19-year-old bike. Just so ahead of the time. So ahead. This is the S1. Now, the S1, by the way, you can tell the difference by the clocks for one. But the other thing that gives it away, they had a black frame on the S2. The S2 was better fueled. A little bit quicker taking away, but the gearbox weren't. I've had how many of these? Two. This is my third S1, and I've had one S2, and maybe it just was the original S2 I had. It only had low mileage, but I always found the gearbox really horrible. They were 6-geared, but that S2, that gear just felt, even when you was on the track at top speed, it felt like it needed another one. It's like it was just pulling all the time, and they suck fuel. When you go fast on these, they suck fuel, and someone very kindly has walked in my garage and scratched that. I didn't even notice that until now. That has not cheered me up in the least. That is so annoying. Right, anyway, so we've got to put my new base plate on there, and we have got, here we go, my garage is still amazing. We've got the new foot pegs for it, so we've got to put these bad boys on, so that's going to be quite interesting. Try to put the right side on, so they go in there. Now they're about £45. We'll get the link for them. But the only downside, they haven't got the rubbers. And undoubtedly, I'll be able to find them from somewhere. But, you know, quite looking forward to putting them on. Make a massive difference. I mean, like anything, it's not an enduro bike. So it's like, even this bracket here won't be anywhere near as solid as an enduro bike. I wonder if my KLE will show it. No, it's two finger. No, the KLE has another bracket here. So it has another bracket that fits the foot pegs onto it, which is a lot thicker again, and it's a shame. I have got to get to this as well. So as you see, I don't know why I'm going out buying other bikes. I have got so much to do in here. I need to just get on with these, really. And this has been a really long delay on that one. I've got everything for it. I've got all the parts for the KLE. I've got new exhaust for it. I'm going to put a stainless steel one on. I've got the back end. I need to put stainless on the front. They look in a sorry state. But I promise you, for people who watch the channel, it'll start clearing out and you'll start seeing these projects working. But again, on the Africa Twin, I'd need to go into some of the bikes. I was looking on the Africa Twin, the handlebars as well, because they're straight and they're about 6 inches wider. It's a lot bigger bike, taller. It dips down so you can sit on it nice enough. Anyway, see you on the next one. Thanks for watching again, Bertrand Biker. Ride safe, be kind to others, and they'll be kind to you. See you again. Bye bye.